I've seen a lot of videos talking about how people's EBT is getting cut off, and so they're going to be stealing groceries straight out of the store. But I've also seen a lot of videos talking about how people are going to grab baskets whenever they come out of the store. That way they're not stealing from the store, they're stealing from an individual. Well, you grab my shopping cart full of groceries that I bought and paid for with my fucking money. And you're going to hear two sounds. There's going to be three sounds. Maybe. There's certainly going to be two sounds. The first sound you're going to hear is me saying, "Now, Han, that's a bad idea there. Better walk the fuck on." If you don't walk the fuck on, that would be the next sound you fucking hear. And the third sound, son, I'll hear it. You won't. No, sir. I'll fucking hear it. And you fucking won't. Now, people are going to come back on this video and say, "Oh, you'd end somebody over a basket full of groceries?" Yeah, I would. You're damn right. Because that person that's deciding to steal from me, they've already decided that that's what their life is worth. Well, they made that decision. They made that choice. You don't fucking steal from me. Fuck around and find out.
Shalom. First, let's start off by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Makakadash. Double honors to teachers, zealous, and the boss of great millstone. Likewise, brothers, put on this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep, and dear brothers and sisters tuning in. Shalom. Today's lesson is titled Rage Against the Sheeps. And as you saw in that opening clip, who was that Edomite speaking about? He's talking about Jakes, okay? Because we're in that time right now where, these Edomites are riled up. They see their kingdom falling. The government is not taking care of them. And, Jakes, okay, so-called blacks and Americans and Latinos, are always the scapegoat, okay, for the anger and rage of these people. But our people don't see, okay, the snake in the chicken coop because they've been following the wrong shepherds probably for the last 70 years. Okay, starting with the civil rights movement where you have this Martin Luther King, okay, have our people walking, okay, with their heads down and singing Kumbaya, we want to be equal to the so-called white man. But let's go into the book of Jeremiah 50 and start verse 6, and it reads, "My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place," and the resting place is not here in Great Babylon, America. Okay, we were brought over here, okay, to serve slavery, okay, as a judgment, as a punishment, okay, for our iniquities, okay, and for not keeping the laws and the statutes of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But our people, have this earnest, okay, or this zest, okay, to help maintain and sustain Great Babylon, America. The only thing that 2/3 Jakes and these Edomites have in common is their desire to sustain Edom, okay, or to sustain Great Babylon, America. Esau being on top, and Jakes desiring the crumbs, okay, whatever Esau threw over to them, okay. So you see this picture here. It says, let's join, a fight against hate. Let's take a look at these clips that we're going to see coming here, okay. This is Genesis 27:41. It reads, "And Esau hated Jacob, 12 tribe of Israel, and Esau is the so-called white man, because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob." Take a look at these clips.
Since the beginning of the Trump administration's Operation Midway Blitz this fall, hundreds of federal law enforcement agents have been reassigned to assist with the ramp-up of deportation operations in the greater Chicago area. The Wall Street Journal analyzed videos and photos of these operations and identified high-risk maneuvers, use of force, and military-style tactics deployed by some elite unit officers against civilians. In late September, hundreds of agents closed in on a 5-story apartment building on Chicago's South Side. SWAT teams arrived on Bearcat vehicles, and scores of agents secured the perimeter to conduct a clearance operation. At one point, a Black Hawk helicopter hovered above, and an agent descended from a rope. a tactic mostly used by elite forces in rugged, hard-to-reach environments. Agents from the Border Patrol Tactical Unit, or BORTAC, were also involved. These officers frequently train with U.S. Special Forces overseas. They typically handle drug interdiction along the borders and assist with tracking fugitives. Former federal agents and military personnel who reviewed the footage said the operation seemed excessive, and entering from two sides of a building increases the risk of friendly fire. Department of Homeland Security spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin told the Journal in a statement that the raid resulted in the arrest of 2 Tren de Aragua members, and a U.S. citizen who had an active warrant was turned over to the Chicago PD. Also on Chicago's South Side, in mid-October, federal agents were seen traveling across 105th Street, pursuing a vehicle allegedly driven by an undocumented person. A security camera nearby captured the moment when the agent's white vehicle struck the rear panel of the suspect's red car. This maneuver is called a precision immobilization technique, or PIT, and it has been banned by police departments across the country, including the Chicago PD. A 2023 report funded by the Department of Justice highlighted the substantial risks associated with PIT and said it should be prohibited under all but very narrowly defined circumstances. A DHS spokeswoman said Border Patrol agents pursued the car after the driver rammed their vehicle. Moments after the crash, a crowd of protesters formed nearby. BORTAC agents, such as this one identifiable by the patch on his vest, were deployed. At one point, federal agents clashed with the protesters. Photos taken at the scene showed how one arrest unfolded. An agent from Customs and Border Protection's Special Response Team, or SRT, kneeled on a protester, while other agents took a defensive, box-like position to maintain control of the area. As agents moved the subject, one officer tossed a canister filled with a chemical irritant to keep the crowd at bay. Former federal agents the Journal spoke with said this tactical arrest procedure should be reserved for dangerous situations when the subject or bystanders are violent or potentially armed.
Get back! He's not doing anything.
Bystander videos from across the greater Chicago area also show federal agents using what some say is excessive force. And on October 23rd, in the Little Village neighborhood, this footage showed Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino, who has been at the helm of immigration enforcement efforts throughout the city, throwing a tear gas canister in the direction of the crowd. This is in violation of an earlier court order limiting federal agents' use of force. In response to criticism of the incident, the Department of Homeland Security said agents provided warning for the crowd to back up, and that chemical munitions were used in full accordance with CBP policy. In late October, a number of Border Patrol officials were transferred to ICE after a shakeup in DHS leadership. Department officials say that means the more aggressive immigration enforcement seen in Chicago will likely become the new norm. In response to the Journal's reporting, a DHS spokeswoman said ICE and CBP officers are trained to use the minimum amount of force necessary to resolve dangerous situations to prioritize the safety of the public and themselves.
Now tell me, is that love? Is that equality? Okay. Is that kumbaya? Okay. When are you going to wake up, Jake? When are you going to wake up out there and see, okay, we're in that time right now where Esau, as promised from Genesis 27 and 41, okay, he's about to slaughter the children of Israel, okay? This is Revelation 12 and 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time." We can see it every day in the news, okay? This man is positioning his warships, his warplanes, his troops all across this globe, you know, in preparation for a showdown with these nations that are right now sick and tired of this whore, okay? And right now, here in Great Babylon, America, okay, he is positioning his troops, his sentries, okay, in these different cities, okay, coming with great wrath against the children of Israel, as promised, you know, pursuant to Genesis 27:41. Esau is going to fulfill or do exactly what he had always had in his heart, and that is to slay his brother Jacob, the 12th tribe of Israel. Okay, and yet still, people still have this sense of complacency. They're very complacent. You know, they don't look into the headlines. The men, you know, are passive aggressive. They don't serve as a watchman for their household. okay? And they become so pacified and so sissified and having a woman rule over them that they really believe, in fact, I believe most men, okay, under that spell, believe that the woman is actually going to be the one that's going to defend them and, come up with a solution. I can picture guys just sitting down there and watching their wife actually, or hope their wife is actually going to go fight and protect him, okay? And it's just laughable to think about it like that, okay? This is Isaiah 31 and verse 1, verse 1, it reads, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither see the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai." Of course you're not going to see, because, okay, you had the border open, and they say, "Hey, come on into the land of milk and honey. We're going to give you jobs, put you up. Life is going to be much better than where you were." Okay, and you see these caravan movement that was taking place over the last, 15 years. And now what's happening? Okay, the sentries or these troops, these Gurkha troops are going around and stomping them up in the street, and manhandling these women and children. They don't care, okay, and it's for both tribes. You have the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom, okay, so-called Blacks, Native Americans, and Latinos that are getting heavy-handed, okay, treatment right now. It says, "Yet he is also wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity." And you can look at, these videos and this compilation of these, movements, these raid movements, where they were, rappelling from helicopters and slamming kids to the ground and all of that. And your heart could melt if you didn't know that these were the judgments that the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai has spake about that he's going to bring, okay, to the children of Israel. In fact, when you look at that word woe, okay, in the online etymology dictionary, it means misery, trouble, grief, wretchedness, okay? Wretchedness, okay? Grief. And this is what you're experiencing right now. That's why it started out and it said, "Woe to them that go to Egypt for help," because all you are going to find here in Great Babylon, America, which is spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt, is misery, okay? So it amounted to absolutely nothing. This is the book of Micah 2 and 10, it reads, "Arise, ye, and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction." Okay, the caravan again. You still have, unbelievable. You still actually have these going on right now, where they're bringing them through. Now we know, okay, through the Spirit, that amongst these people are, these UN soldiers or these elite killers from these other nations that the United States government have probably, sneaking into this country to do, the things that they want to do. But these people are going to come over here and they have no type of love or compassion for the American people. And this is going to be revealed once the hands, okay, start being laid on these Edomites, when they start to get slammed down to the ground, when they're starting to get their house and their house raided and their doors kicked in, and they start to feel those fear that Jason currently experiencing right now. And this is just the beginning. And then you can see all hell breaks loose, and we always go into 2 Ezra 16 that speak about the fact that, they're not going to guard their kings, and, they're going to really, things are going to get really serious here. Okay, let's close with the book of Psalms 100 and Psalm verse 1, because, you have to have this kind of spirit and understand, okay, that while all of these things are taking place, this is the will of the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai. There's nothing that can be done about it. And all we have to do is, this is verse 1, it reads, "A psalm of praise, make a joyful noise unto the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai, all ye lands. Serve the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai, he is power. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture. Hence, rage against the sheep." There is anger against the sheep of Yahweh Shemel Shai. It says, "Enter into his gate with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name." So don't be thanking Thanksgiving and the pilgrims and all this other BS and all that stuff. We know Thanksgiving is coming up, but how people, it says, "For the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generation." And you can only get the truth from the men of the Lord that has been set up to give you the truth in its raw veracity, okay? It's not going to sound pleasant because the experiences you're going to experience here in Great Babylon, America, is not going to be pleasant. So this has been Rage Against the Sheepdog, well intellectual certified as goes away, giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Shalom.